At 2:28 a.m., Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker signal vanished. Hours earlier, the 84-year-old Tucson, Arizona resident had returned home after dinner with family. By sunrise, she was gone. Blood was left on the front porch. Her security camera had been disabled, and the FBI would later recover footage of a masked man standing outside her front door. More than 100 days later, no arrest has been made. But investigators believe the person responsible made mistakes they cannot take back. Nancy Guthrie lived alone in the Catalina Foothills community north of Tucson, Arizona. On January 31, 2026, family members dropped her home at 9:48 p.m. At 9:50, smart home data confirmed her garage door closed. That was the last confirmed moment she was safe. At 1:47 a.m., her Nest doorbell camera suddenly went offline. Investigators later confirmed it had been intentionally disabled. 25 minutes later, another camera on the property detected movement near the home, but the video was unusable. Then came the timestamp investigators now consider critical. At 2:28 a.m., Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker application lost Bluetooth connection with her phone. According to investigators, that disconnect helped establish the probable timeline of her abduction. By noon on February 1st, family members contacted authorities after being unable to reach her. Deputies arrived and found blood droplets on the front porch. The Pima County Sheriff's Department later confirmed the blood matched Nancy Guthrie. A retired FBI agent reviewing the evidence described it as signs of a struggle. Nancy Guthrie fought back. Initially, investigators believed the security footage had been deleted or corrupted. But the FBI worked with Google and forensic recovery specialists to retrieve portions of the missing data. What they recovered changed the investigation. The footage showed a masked man outside Nancy Guthrie's home wearing gloves, dark clothing, and carrying a black 25-litre Ozark Trail hiker backpack, sold exclusively at Walmart. Investigators also observed what appeared to be a holstered handgun. In one clip, the man reaches directly toward the camera lens. In another, he uses vegetation to block the device completely while holding a flashlight in his mouth. This was not random. It looked deliberate, planned. The FBI described the individual as a male approximately 5 feet 9 inches to 5 feet 10 inches with an average build. And then came another major development. Investigators recovered unknown DNA from the scene. The DNA found outside Nancy Guthrie's home did not match anyone in the national database. That immediately changed the direction of the case. According to investigators, forensic labs in Florida and the FBI facility in Quantico, Virginia, began analyzing the evidence using advanced genetic genealogy techniques, the same technology used in the Golden State Killer investigation. Sheriff Chris Nanos later confirmed publicly that investigators believed they were getting closer to identifying the unknown contributor. Additional evidence was also discovered miles away from the home, including gloves recovered nearly 10 miles from the property. Those items were also tested for DNA. And while federal investigators quietly processed forensic evidence, the Internet moved in a completely different direction. A man named Dominic Evans suddenly became the center of online speculation. But that is where the facts begin separating from the theories. Dominic Evans is a 5th-grade teacher in Tucson, Arizona. He also plays drums in a local band called Early Black, alongside Tommaso Chion, who is married to Annie Guthrie, Nancy Guthrie's daughter. That social connection triggered massive online speculation after the FBI released the surveillance footage. Internet users claimed Evans resembled the masked suspect. Some pointed to alleged similarities in height, facial hair, and even a supposed wrist tattoo visible in the footage. But law enforcement has never publicly named Dominic Evans as a suspect. No charges have been filed. No arrest warrant exists, and investigators confirmed he cooperated voluntarily when questioned. Sheriff Chris Nanos later addressed the online accusations directly, saying Evans was going through hell because of false claims spreading online. Meanwhile, investigators publicly cleared Nancy Guthrie's children and their spouses, including Tommaso Cion, as suspects in the case. But while social media focused on theories, the FBI kept focusing on evidence, and one detail continued to stand out. Whoever took Nancy Guthrie left DNA behind. As of May 2026, the investigation remains active. The FBI and Pima County Sheriff's Department have reviewed more than 10,000 hours of surveillance footage and received tens of thousands of public tips. The combined reward for information now exceeds $1.2 million. Investigators continue tracing the Walmart backpack and holster seen in the recovered footage, while forensic teams analyse DNA evidence using genetic genealogy databases. Sheriff Nanos recently explained how investigators believe the case may unfold once the DNA identifies a person. First comes the name. Then everything else around that individual begins to connect. Vehicles, purchases, surveillance footage, movements. And according to investigators, the person responsible already made several critical mistakes. They disabled a camera but were still recorded. They came prepared but left evidence behind. And they left DNA at the scene of a federal crime. Nancy Guthrie remains missing. No arrest has been made. No suspect has been publicly identified. But investigators insist this case is far from cold. And somewhere inside the evidence now sitting at Quantico may be the answer to who walked up to that house in Tucson at 1:47 in the morning, and why Nancy Guthrie never came home again.